Welcome back to the Deep Dive. Today we are cracking open a biography that seems, well, on the surface, it's all about smooth suits, perfect hair, and that sort of old-school charm.
We are, of course, talking about Jonathan Daniel Hamm, an actor just instantly defined globally by one single iconic role, Don Draper.
But if you, our listener, only know Jon Hamm from that, glossy, curated surface of Madison Avenue, you are missing a massive, often painful chunk of personal tragedy, professional struggle, and just sheer determination that really defines his actual life trajectory.
Yeah, absolutely. Our sources, it's a really deep, comprehensive dive into his biography. They paint a startling picture. A man who achieved global stardom, but only after years and years of rejection and hitting a very clear self-imposed deadline.
And that is the crucial mission today, right? To move past the myth, the confident, successful ad man myth, and extract the surprising, sometimes kind of dark details, the actual blueprint, you could say, for his enduring success.
Exactly. The source material, it covers everything. His earliest personal tragedies, a decade-long grind in Hollywood, really grinding.
Yeah.
And then his strategic career expansion, which has allowed him to kind of outlast the shadow of Don Draper.
So let's start with the basics, just to frame the level of success we're ultimately analyzing here. Jonathan Daniel Hamm, born March 10th, 1971 in St. Louis, Missouri. That makes him 54 as of, well, now, September 2025.
And that age is significant, right? Because it means he was almost 36 when Mad Men premiered. That's an age when a lot of actors have already hit their peak or, established themselves much earlier.
Right. And while he's famous for playing this man with a tumultuous, really secretive personal life, Hamm's own relationships have been pretty highly publicized, often spanning years.
He spent nearly 2 decades in that long-term partnership with Jennifer Westfeldt, from 97 to 2015.
Yeah, a long time.
Yeah.
And he recently married actress Anna Osceola just last year, June 2023. And we will get to the fascinating, Easter egg connection there later.
Good.
Trust me, it's good.
Oh, yeah, that's a great little detail. But the hardware, the awards, they tell the definitive story of that Mad Men era, don't they?
Totally.
His major accolades are just testament to the weight of that one role. 1 Primetime Emmy Award, 2 Golden Globes, 2 Screen Actors Guild Awards.
And critically, almost all of that recognition is tied directly to embodying Don Draper across 7 seasons. It's huge.
But the sheer psychological journey, that led him to earn those awards. Anything but smooth. It really starts with profound early loss.
Okay, let's unpack those foundational years.
Yeah.
Because they are marked by tragedy right from the get-go, shaping his perspective way before he even, stepped on a stage. His parents divorced when he was only 2 years old.
And that instability, it just compounded quickly and honestly devastatingly. He lived in Creve Coeur, Missouri with his mother until she died from colon cancer. He was just 10 years old.
God, that's young. An immense trauma for a kid.
Absolutely. He then moved in with his father and grandmother in Normandy, Missouri. But then his father also died when Hamm was only 20.
Wow. Think about that time frame. Losing both your biological parents by the time you're just sort of starting your adult life, launching into the world.
It provides immense context, doesn't it, for that deep, complex sense of inner turmoil and hidden history he would later just nail on screen as Draper.
He talked about it himself, reflected on this devastating loss. He noted that he was, quote, quasi-adopted by my friends' families. He talked about getting emails and cards from these women who, for lack of a better word, had stepped in as mother figures for him.
Yeah, during his adolescence, early adulthood. And from those experiences, he seemed to extract this powerful, profound lesson about what makes a family, what it means to be a functional adult.
He said it's mostly about showing up, right?
Yeah.
And being aware enough to check in and say, how are you doing?
Exactly. That sense of awareness, born from necessity, born from tragedy, it's arguably the emotional fuel that drove his character work and ultimately his success. He had to become aware of others' emotional states because his own primary support structure had just vanished.
It's incredible. And before he was channeling that brooding executive energy, he did actually have an early start performing, though maybe less dramatically.
Winnie the Pooh, first grade.
Winnie the Pooh, yeah. And he played Judas in Godspell at 16. He said he enjoyed it, but the sources make it clear acting wasn't like a serious career path yet.
No, not at all. His education reflects that St. Louis stability, though, despite the personal chaos. Attended the private John Burroughs School in Ladue. Heavily involved in sports, football, baseball, swim team.
A classic, sort of well-rounded Midwestern private school upbringing, yeah.
But this period of his life, it's also permanently linked to a very dark, complicated moment, which is essential, I think, to understanding the man behind the Draper facade.
Right. After high school, he enrolled at the University of Texas. And while there, as a member of the Sigma Nu fraternity, he was involved in a violent hazing incident, November 1990.
Yeah, this is a critical point. It really shatters that image of the suave gentleman. Hamm was arrested, along with 7 other students, for severely attacking and injuring a fellow student, Mark Sanders.
And the source material is explicit. Hamm admitted to the crime, which included, severely beating the student, dragging him by a hammer claw, and lighting his pants on fire. It's shocking stuff.
It really is. We have to linger on that because it's just so contradictory to his later persona. He was charged with aggravated assault, a felony.
Ultimately, he received a deferred adjudication plea deal and probation. The charges were later dismissed after he completed that probation and eventually transferred.
Right, and the legal side, deferred adjudication, it means you plead guilty or no contest, but the court holds off finding you guilty while you complete probation. It can lead to a cleared record, but it doesn't diminish the seriousness of what was reported.
No, absolutely not. And he transferred to the University of Missouri-Mizzou, graduated in '93 with a Bachelor of Arts in English. It's just a very sobering historical fact that underscores the turbulence of his early 20s.
It really does. After college, though, he took a very, relatable path. Returned to his high school, John Burroughs, to teach 8th grade acting.
And here's that fun connection for our listeners.
Yeah.
What one of his students, a future actress, Ellie Kemper.
Right, Kemper, yeah.
And he'd later reunite and work with her on her show, Unbreakable Kimmy Schmidt. It just speaks to that, tight-knit world of acting and his St. Louis roots.
Totally. But teaching clearly wasn't the end goal. Hamm didn't want the stability of a normal career, as he put it, so he took the leap, moved to Los Angeles permanently in 1995.
And this is where the long struggle really began. A true, grueling Hollywood grind. It lasted for years.
Oh, yeah. Working as a waiter, living in a house with 4 other aspiring actors, had to take any job he could find. Even, briefly working as a set decorator for a softcore pornography movie.
Okay, let's pause on that detail. Set decorator for softcore porn. That is the gritty reality, isn't it? Trying to make it when you're just utterly desperate.
It's the absolute antithesis of the polished image he'd eventually project. Shows a real willingness to endure, often humiliating struggle just to stay close to the industry.
And the humiliation was compounded by rejection, right? He was having trouble finding consistent acting work. Ironically, because he looked older than his actual age.
Right, so he wasn't right for the younger roles that often launch careers. Then in 1998, after 3 years without much luck, the powerful William Morris agency dropped him as a client.
Wow. That's a monumental rejection. That would sink most people.
Absolutely. And this failure led directly to that pivotal, career-defining moment, the 30-year deadline.
He made an explicit, conscious decision. If he wasn't successful in Hollywood by his 30th birthday, he was quitting. Done. Moving home.
And this is where we kind of need to analyze the psychology of that deadline. Why did defining failure lead to success? He'd spent years trying, right? But the deadline forced a binary choice. Succeed or get out.
Yeah, it eliminated that possibility of just endless, fruitless hoping. The sources quote him saying the last thing he wanted was to be one of those actors who's 25 with a tenuous grasp of their own reality and not really working much.
Ouch. Yeah. It created focus. He gave himself 5 years, and suddenly the energy just shifted. He said, as soon as I said that, it's like I started working right away.
Wild. That self-limiting mechanism somehow freed him up, maybe. Allowed him to perform without that crushing weight of infinite expectation.
It seems like it. It was a classic, right before the clock ran out Hollywood turnaround. In 2000, his 29th year.
Cutting it close.
Right. He lands this breakthrough role on NBC's Providence, plays the romantic firefighter Burt Ridley. Initial contract, 1 episode.
But it expanded to 19, which finally let him quit waiting tables. That was the first big hurdle cleared.
Huge. And that same year, he makes his feature film debut, One Line, in Clint Eastwood's Space Cowboys.
One line, but it's Eastwood. He turned 30 while filming We Were Soldiers in 2002, so he beat his deadline technically.
But it was still a steady climb, not explosive. His career got another boost with that recurring role, Police Inspector Nate Basso on The Division from 2002 to 2004. That really set the necessary professional foundation for the role that would, change absolutely everything.
Which brings us, of course, to Don Draper.
That steady rise, it leads him right there. 2007. Chosen from over 80 candidates for the lead in AMC's Mad Men. 80 people.
80. And it was a huge gamble for everyone involved, wasn't it? Hamm was still relatively unknown in leading roles.
Yeah, he read the script, loved it, but admitted he never thought they'd cast him. He figured they'd go with one of the five guys who look like me but are movie stars, established talent.
But the casting process itself, it highlights how the creator, Matthew Weiner, was looking for something beyond just conventional good looks.
Right. Initially, both Weiner and the director, Alan Taylor, thought Hamm was, quote, too handsome. They actually worried he was too perfect.
Too handsome, imagine that problem.
Right. But they ultimately decided that casting the perfect male in this part, especially one hiding such inner turmoil, was actually perfect for that suave executive mask.
And this is where that psychological connection we talked about earlier becomes absolutely pivotal. Weiner, during the audition, he sensed Hamm had suffered that early loss of his parents.
Which, of course, mirrored Don Draper's hidden, tragic backstory, his construction of a false identity. It resonated.
And Hamm channeled that emotional wellspring directly, didn't he? Used memories of his own father, well-dressed, influential businessman type, to inform the aesthetic, the mannerisms of this character masking deep inner turmoil.
Exactly. The authenticity of that pain, combined with that polished exterior, it elevated the performance way beyond just a typical procedural lead. He wasn't just acting sad, he was pulling from a real, deep-seated well of loss.
And Hamm himself firmly believed that if the show had been on a bigger network like NBC or something, they would have insisted on a major star with a proven track record, which would have cost him the role.
So his success was partly, a function of AMC taking a chance on a relative unknown whose specific personal history just happened to align perfectly with the character's inner life. Amazing synchronicity.
When Mad Men debuted, July 2007, the reviews for Hamm were immediate. Overwhelmingly positive.
Oh, yeah. USA Today called it a star-making performance. The Boston Globe hailed him as a brilliant lead. Critics just instantly got it. He'd achieved that rare alchemy, defining a character for a generation.
And this stellar performance, it quickly translated to nominations. Got his first Golden Globe for the role in 2008.
But here's the statistical heartbreak, right? The test of endurance. Hamm received an astonishing 12 nominations for acting in and producing Mad Men before he finally won the big one, the Primetime Emmy for Outstanding Lead Actor in a Drama Series.
12. That long wait. Year after year, being recognized but not quite getting the win. It's a testament to the level of competition in prestige TV, sure, but also just his stamina.
Incredible stamina. The wait finally ended in September 2015. Fittingly, just a few months after the show wrapped its 7-season run in May 2015, it felt like a hugely well-deserved victory lap.
Absolutely. After years of giving us one of television's most complex performances, but beyond the accolades, the role itself presented unique physical and personal challenges. Things that further erode that myth of the effortless star.
Like the smoking. Hamm had quit smoking at age 24. But Don Draper, almost constant chain smoker.
So how do they handle that?
The solution was pretty wild, logistically. He smoked herbal cigarettes, no tobacco, no nicotine throughout the entire run of the show.
Wow. Imagine the sheer volume of herbal cigarettes for 7 seasons of heavy smoking on camera. It tastes famously awful, that like burning leaves or something.
Apparently, and yet he maintained the illusion perfectly for years. That's serious commitment.
But pressures went deeper than just, smoking fake cigarettes. The sources also mentioned he developed vitiligo during the filming of season 1.
Right. Vitiligo causes patches of skin to lose color, and it's often linked to stress. The demands of carrying a prestige drama, especially after years of struggle, it clearly took a physical toll.
And perhaps most significantly, March 2015, just before the final episodes aired, his rep confirmed that Hamm had completed inpatient treatment for alcoholism.
Yeah, that's a crucial piece of context. The public acknowledgement of seeking help for addiction, mirroring in a way the addiction struggles of the character he played. It offers a profound window into the intense personal toll.
The toll that comes with embodying an icon, especially one as tortured and dependent as Don Draper, it showed a level of bravery and authenticity, I think, far beyond the screen.
Definitely.
So he finally conquers the mountain of Don Draper, gets his Emmy. The next chapter of his career becomes all about these strategic, intentional pivots, designed specifically to avoid being pigeonholed as the man in the gray suit.
Absolutely. This wasn't accidental, it was calculated. Hamm admitted that after Mad Men took off, he got about 40 scripts that were all set in the 60s or had me playing advertising guys.
40. Wow.
He understood immediately if he took any of those, he'd be locked into that period, that aesthetic, forever. He had to show urgent, dramatic range if he wanted a lasting career.
So his first calculated move away from the 60s trap was playing that FBI agent in Ben Affleck's crime drama, The Town, in 2010.
Right. Hamm said that role appealed precisely because it was the opposite to Don Draper. A man in pursuit, a man of structure, accountability, not a man running from his past.
And one of the most successful ways he shattered the Draper mold was by aggressively pursuing comedy, which is like the ultimate pivot, right?
Totally. His supporting role in Bridesmaids in 2011, where he played Kristen Wiig's rude and arrogant sex buddy.
Oh, he was hilariously awful in that.
Exactly. It was a crucial early demonstration of his comedic chops. He used his good looks to play the ultimate condescending jerk, making the audience laugh at the absurdity of the persona.
He was smart. Proved he wasn't precious about his looks or his serious traumatic rep. He didn't just stick to big supporting roles, though. He took on diverse leading parts, too.
Yeah, like the indie mystery thriller Stolen in 2010, and that Disney sports drama $1 Million Arm in 2014, playing the real-life sports agent J.B. Bernstein, showed he could lead different genres.
Outside his comfort zone, yeah. And of course, he successfully translated that smooth operator persona into action blockbusters, which requires a completely different acting economy.
Right. Supporting roles in Edgar Wright's Baby Driver in 2017, and then the absolutely massive hit Top Gun Maverick in 2022.
He was great in Maverick. Vice Admiral Cyclone, a figure of authority, needed instant credibility.
Which his Draper image kind of provided, but in a totally different military context.
Yeah.
Far removed from advertising.
I also find his work reuniting him with old friends really revealing of his post-Mad Men mindset. Like he's intent on doing projects he genuinely enjoys now.
Yeah, like collaborating with director Greg Mottola and his Mad Men co-star John Slattery in 2022 for the title role in Confess, Fletch.
And the sources note he got genuinely positive reviews for his easy, relaxed comedic timing in that, proving he could successfully revitalize a comedic franchise decades after Chevy Chase. Not easy.
Not easy at all. His versatility on television is maybe even more impressive than his film career. The comedy guest spots alone are just staggering.
And they highlight that self-deprecating humor. He got 3 Emmy nominations for Guest Actor just for his appearances on NBC's 30 Rock.
As Liz Lemon's impossibly handsome neighbor, Drew Baird, who was actually quite useless and stupid. Again, mocking his own physical perfection.
Totally. He also popped up on Parks and Recreation, played that recurring, highly meta role as himself in Curb Your Enthusiasm from 2020 to 2021.
In those, he's either playing the ultimate handsome dope or just ruthlessly parodying his own public image as an actor. It's brilliant.
But the range expansion into prestige drama is where he really solidified his post-Draper image, taking roles that were actively chilling sometimes.
Like playing the older, reflective version of Daniel Radcliffe's character in that dark comedy, A Young Doctor's Notebook from 2012-2013. A really nuanced performance.
And who could forget his truly chilling antagonist lead in Black Mirror, White Christmas in 2014.
Oh, that was a perfect pivot. Cold, manipulative puppet master orchestrating digital torture. A complete break from the sad, internal conflict of Don Draper. He showed he could play pure menace.
Definitely. Then he followed that up with major roles in fantasy stuff like Good Omens, playing the Archangel Gabriel to 2019 and 2023.
Showcasing a goofy divine arrogance that was just hilarious.
And now we're seeing this new wave of lead roles for him, proving his staying power in TV, reclaiming his status as a dramatic heavy hitter.
Right. Excellent as the menacing, charismatic Sheriff Roy Tillman in FX's Fargo for the 2023-24 season. Tillman was this brutal, narcissistic villain, dramatic opposite to Draper's quiet sadness.
And looking ahead, he's playing Monty Miller, CEO of MTEX Oil, in the Paramount Plus series Landman 2024-25.
Which returns him to that world of influential, powerful men, but in the context of the American West, corporate greed, not 1960s advertising.
And crucially, 2025 is scheduled to bring his first lead series role on TV since Mad Men ended. The Apple TV Plus series, Your Friends and Neighbors, already renewed for season 2.
That trajectory shows he's not just coasting on supporting roles, he's actively reclaiming lead status, choosing projects with long-term potential.
We should also definitely mention his extremely successful voice acting and production work. It lets him operate in massive box office territory without even showing his face.
Right. Voiced roles in huge animated films like Shrek Forever After in 2010. And very notably, Herb Overkill in Minions in 2015, which grossed over $1 billion worldwide.
$1 billion. Wow.
Yeah.
And he also voices Marvin Flute in the animated sitcom Grimsburg, a show he also executive produces.
But that dual-function actor and executive producer is significant. Shows his dedication to producing. He co-founded Points West Pictures with Jennifer Westfeldt, remember?
Right, and they produced the indie film Friends with Kids way back in 2011. The man clearly understands the business, how to cultivate projects from behind the camera, gives him agency over his career.
Totally. Moving to his public persona, Jon Hamm quickly transitioned from actor to watch to, official international sex symbol status during the height of Mad Men.
Oh, the press certainly embraced him. Salon's Sexiest Men Living in 2007, People's Sexiest Men Alive in 2008, GQ's International Man Award in 2010.
It's hard to separate the critical acclaim from the physical aura he projects, isn't it? But he's been remarkably good at leveraging that image while simultaneously mocking it.
Yeah, he has. And the endorsements he's secured feel like this direct, metatextual nod to Don Draper's greatest ambitions.
How so?
Well, in 2010, he became the new voiceover for Mercedes-Benz commercials.
Okay, nice.
And in 2013, he did the voiceover for an American Airlines commercial titled Changes in the Air.
Oh, wow. That is significant. Because his Mad Men character often spoke, schemed, about aspiring to win exactly those kinds of prestigious, high-status accounts.
Exactly. Hamm, the actor, realized his character's corporate fantasy. It's brilliant.
I love that meta-narrative realization. But his more recent commercial work shows him leaning even harder into the comedy and his A-list status for self-parody.
Right, the campaigns for H&R Block, Skip the Dishes in Canada,
Yeah.
playing these exaggerated, often frustrated versions of himself.
And perhaps the clearest signal of his universally recognized high profile was that 2022 Apple TV Plus ad, Everyone But Jon Hamm.
Oh yeah, that was great. Highlighting their massive roster of stars while jokingly excluding him. That kind of self-deprecating humor only works if you are definitively one of the biggest names.
Totally. And that same year, he started appearing in those Progressive insurance ads, playing Flo's romantic suitor with the off-and-on relationship.
Okay, let's circle back to his personal life, specifically his marriage, because it involves maybe the greatest Hollywood Easter egg I've heard in years.
Oh, yeah. Do tell.
After his long-term partnership with Jennifer Westfeldt ended in 2015, he began dating actress Anna Osceola, and they got married in June 2023.
Right. So what's the Easter egg?
Okay, here it is. The truly poetic ultimate Mad Men connection. Anna Osceola briefly appeared in the 2015 series finale.
No way.
Yes, as the flower child receptionist at the California coastal retreat where Don Draper ends up.
Get out! They met literally in the final moments of his iconic run, just before Don has his spiritual aha moment.
Exactly. It suggests this strange destiny, right? His career-defining role ended, and his new personal life began almost simultaneously on the same set.
That is fantastic symmetry, linking the conclusion of his defining professional chapter to the beginning of his new personal one. Wow.
Isn't that great? Beyond Hollywood, though, Hamm remains deeply loyal to his St. Louis roots, which we touched on earlier. Huge fan of the St. Louis Blues in the NHL, St. Louis Cardinals, and MLB.
Yeah, his dedication to the Cardinals runs deep. He narrated the official highlight movie for their 2011 World Series win.
And proving he's athletic enough to back up the sports talk, he played in the MLB Legend and Celebrity All-Star Softball game in 2012.
And hit a home run. Very Midwestern achievement indeed. He also continues to narrate that Amazon NFL documentary series All or Nothing since 2015.
Busy guy. Finally, we have the material on his political engagement, which, we report impartially as part of his public activity.
Okay. The source notes he supported Barack Obama back in 2012, attended a Broadway fundraiser for Hillary Clinton in 2016.
He's also used his profile for social causes, appeared in a 2014 PSA about stopping sexual assault on college campuses, which is an interesting detail given the hazing incident from his past we discussed.
In terms of more recent political activity, he narrated a 2023 ad for Democratic candidate Lucas Kunce in Missouri, which apparently took aim at Josh Hawley.
And he endorsed Adam Schiff in the 2024 California Senate election back in January 2024. So, staying engaged.
Seems so. Let's end this context section with something that connects directly to our learner profile, his reading preferences. He calls himself a sporadic reader, but the books he admires offer some crucial insight, I think.
Oh, yeah. Like what?
He particularly admired Mark Levinson's nonfiction book, The
The
Box.
box, what's that about?
It's about the history and massive impact of the standardized shipping container, how its standardization fundamentally changed global commerce, logistics, the whole nine yards.
Okay, interesting choice. Why did he love it?
Well, what's fascinating is why. He noted it connected to his upbringing because the standardization of shipping containers radically changed his family's source of income.
Wow. So he's not just reading escapist fiction. He's actively engaging with complex nonfiction that relates back to the mechanics of his childhood, the economics that supported him. That's revealing.
Very. He also mentioned Tom Wolfe's The Right Stuff, Dave Eggers' memoir, A Heartbreaking Work of Staggering Genius, a book about processing loss, notably.
Interesting connection there, too.
Right. Books by John Irving, like The World According to Garp, and Chad Harbach's baseball novel, The Art of Fielding. It's a varied, thoughtful list. Reveals a man interested in history, personal tragedy, complex systems.
A list that perfectly matches his expansive career choices, actually.
Exactly.
So what does this deep dive into the Jon Hamm trajectory, from early tragedy to that definitive role, and finally to intentional career mastery, truly teach us? We've got, what, 3 major interlocking takeaways here?
I think so. First, the absolute necessity, it seems, of that Hollywood deadline. His self-imposed limit, succeed or quit by 30.
Right. That clarity of purpose, that pressure cooker, it sparked his initial breakthrough in the late 90s. Proves that sometimes success requires you to fully commit to an exit strategy.
Second, the source material really highlights the profound, almost necessary resonance between his real-life personal history, the early loss of both parents, the hidden struggle, the sense of needing to construct a persona, and the massive success of Don Draper.
He channeled genuine, deep-seated turmoil into that iconic role, which gave the character that necessary, undeniable depth. It transcended just being a handsome guy in a suit. His pain was like the foundation of his art.
Absolutely. And third, post-Mad Men, his strategic and enduring success hinges entirely on calculated risk and immediate diversification. He actively pursued roles that were the antithesis of Draper.
Often comedic, sometimes chillingly antagonistic, but always diverse. To immediately prove his versatility and avoid being trapped in the 1960s forever.
He shifted from the mysterious ad man to playing brutal sheriffs in Fargo, goofy archangels in Good Omens, the self-parodying star in Atlas commercials.
That intentional, immediate career diversification, that's the difference, isn't it? Between an actor who peaked with a generational role and an enduring star who can secure lead parts decades later in shows like Landman and Your Friends and Neighbors.
He actively, systematically worked against the perfect public image he created.
Which brings us to our final provocative thought for you, our listener. Something to mull over.
Okay. Considering that Jon Hamm achieved massive world-defining success with a character, Don Draper, who was built entirely on hiding his true self and his painful passed-on masking tragedy with polish.
Right. What does his subsequent willingness to take highly visible public roles, from goofy, self-deprecating comedy to engaging in political commentary, acknowledging personal struggles like addiction, what does that tell us?
Tell us about the power of an actor finally embracing his own reality, maybe. 20 years after his self-imposed deadline finally yielded success.
Does it suggest that maybe authenticity is only possible once the mask has served its purpose? It's a fascinating question, isn't it? About the intersection of art, personal cost, and professional longevity.
Indeed. We'll leave you with that thought. Thank you for joining us for the deep dive.